Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to try something that I have been wanting to do for a while now, and that is build a hatchet or a small axe out of a particular method. Now you've seen the axes or the hatchets that are forged from one piece of steel with the eye punched and so forth, a block of steel. You've seen the tomahawks where it's, you know, forge welded together on the bit and the eye is formed and all those kind of things. But what I didn't know for a while is that there's actually companies that made full-sized felling axes with the folded steel method. So you have your mild steel that makes the body of the axe and then a high carbon steel bit forge welded to make the actual blade. So that's what we're going to try to do. Now, as I understand it, there have been a lot of axes and hatchets made with a similar method that we're going to try to do today. And the reason for that early on in sort of industrial history, I guess you could say, I think has to do with the dimensions of steel that were available, and that is to say not much. So you'd have a lot more sort of thinner stock dimensions that you'd have to forge out to use instead of a block like this. This is actually 1 inch by 2.5 inches, and this is actually big enough to go ahead and forge an axe all by itself without folding anything. We could just punch an eye in it, but that's not what we're trying to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and mark off some steel here, and I'll actually be forging this down to match something more like a piece of strap steel, still rather thick though, and we'll actually be forming the heel of the axe. We'll get into that. Anyway, I'm excited about this. Let's chop this off here and get it in the forge. Alright, so I took a wee break to do some important stuff, and we can kind of assess the damage now a little bit here. So obviously there's way more material here than we really need, especially on this portion here. But I've never done this before, so I don't want to end up with not enough. Anyway, the other problem, or the real problem I should say, is there's some cold shuts down in there, which I'm hoping we can sort of open this back up and grind those out real quick. Should be enough material. Alright, well those are some kind of nasty cold shuts, but we got them cleaned out I think, and there's still plenty of material there, so we'll get this heated back up and continue on. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and clean off these surfaces here. Well guys, this has been a learning experience, mainly that I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to this kind of thing exactly. So I thought that drifting the eye would be easier than if you were going to do it in a solid piece of steel, and in one respect it kind of was, because you didn't have to punch out that whole bit of steel, but I still really struggled with keeping the eye straight. I got it cockeyed right off the bat, and it's kind of straight right now. That's kind of something that's I found to be difficult. So that didn't really help with that. Of course, the inside of where the eye goes was pretty gnarly. starting out, and we had those cold shuts and stuff. So there's some different forging operations that you definitely want to do things a certain way. And I found that squishing the pole area down like this in the press is what really created those cold shuts. So that's interesting. So anyway, there's a lot to this that you don't think about. Anyway, it's looking kind of rough, but I think we can take it to the grinder and make it into something that's a little better. And then we'll go ahead and try to quench it. Hopefully it doesn't just completely pop apart on us, because that's already kind of coming apart right there. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, well, I was half expecting this to just blow apart in the quench, and it didn't. Made some funny noises, but the welds here did not hold up. Just too much pressure trying to open that eye up there. So there's definitely some technique to this method that I don't have in order to actually make it work the right way. Let's dip it in the etch real quick and kind of see where our edge steel is at in relation to the mild steel head. That's kind of cool. I mean, we got a good weld on this end, obviously. Alright guys, well, not quite the result I was hoping for, obviously. Another learning experience. It looks pretty good from about here forward, and that's kind of about it. I do think that having that cool weld line there, that would look pretty cool in like a traditional tomahawk or you know, folded, you know, tomahawk style. So that's something to keep in the back of my mind. But on the rest of it, yeah, this eye is crooked. I've really struggled with trying to keep those straight on punching tools and stuff, and I'm not sure why. So I have to kind of figure that out. But well, part of it I do know has been my drifts. One thing I have found that it is absolutely crucial that your drifts are true and straight, and yeah, I need to take more time in, I guess, building really good drifts. And then there's different ways, obviously, to design this, and maybe where you weld the, I'm not sure how you would do this, probably where you would weld the carbon steel bit further up here instead of having two spots here that can pull apart. I'm not sure. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching on this, and hopefully you learned something. I learned a little bit. We'll see you on the next video.